Welcome to Fazza Poetry World, where hearts turn into poetry. My queen, I need you to sit with this slowly, not rush through these words, not skim past them like something ordinary, because what I am about to say is not ordinary at all. It is quiet, it is deep, and it has been growing inside me long before I found the courage to speak it. All day, your thought stayed with me. Not loudly, not like a storm, but like a soft presence that refused to leave. And I tried to ignore it at first, tried to keep myself busy, tried to act like everything was normal, but some feelings don't ask for permission. They just stay. Today, something small happened. So small that anyone else would have forgotten it in seconds. But I didn't. Because it involved you. My son saw your picture on my phone. He didn't know your story. He didn't know your name. He didn't know the way you make my silence feel lighter, or the way your presence has slowly started to fill empty spaces inside me. He just looked quietly for a few seconds that somehow felt longer than they should have. And then, he pointed at you and said something so simple that it shook something deep inside me. She looks kind. That was it. No long speech. No complicated thought. Just truth, pure and untouched. She looks kind. And I don't know why, but those 3 words felt heavier than anything I have heard in a long time. Maybe because children don't lie. Maybe because they don't pretend. Maybe because they don't analyze the world the way we do. They just feel, and they speak. And in that moment, without knowing you, without hearing your voice, without understanding anything about you, he felt something good about you. I stood there, silent, not because I didn't understand what he said, but because I understood it too well. Something in my chest shifted. Something quiet, but real. I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't expecting it. But it stayed. And before I could even process that moment, he asked me something else. Something I still haven't escaped from. He looked at me, with that same innocent curiosity, and asked, "Will she come home one day?" My queen, I wish you could have seen me in that moment. Because everything inside me stopped. Time didn't move. My thoughts didn't move. Even my breath felt uncertain. I didn't know what to say. Not because there was no answer, but because the answer felt too big to speak. I didn't want to lie. I didn't want to rush. I didn't want to say something that my heart hadn't fully understood yet. So I stayed quiet. But inside, something changed. Not suddenly, not loudly, but deeply. For the first time, I didn't just think of you as someone I talked to, I saw you as someone who could be part of my life. Not in imagination. Not in passing thoughts. But in something real. Something possible. And that realization, it didn't scare me. It calmed me. Because when I think about you, I don't feel chaos. I don't feel confusion. I feel peace. A kind of peace that doesn't demand anything, that doesn't rush anything, that doesn't force anything. Just exists. And that is rare. You are rare. Even my son noticed something else. He said, "Dad, your smile is different." And he's right. It is. Because of you. You don't try to change me. You don't try to impress me. You don't try to control anything. You just exist, and somehow, that is enough. To soften me. To make me feel less alone. To make my days feel lighter. To make my silence feel less empty. There is something about you that doesn't need explanation. Something that doesn't need effort. Something that just feels right. And I never thought I would feel this way again. I thought those parts of me were gone. Closed. Silent. But you didn't knock loudly. You didn't force your way in. You just appeared. And slowly, without even trying, you changed something inside me. And then, he asked me one last question. One that I still carry. Does she make your heart happy? I didn't answer him. Not because I didn't feel anything, but because I felt too much. How do you explain something that is still growing? How do you put into words a feeling that is still finding its shape? How do you describe a connection that doesn't feel heavy, doesn't feel forced, but still feels real? The truth is, something inside me is changing. Slowly. Quietly. But undeniably. I think about you more than I expected. I notice the way everything feels natural with you. Our conversations, they don't feel like effort. Our silence, it doesn't feel awkward. And that is rare. With you, I don't feel like I have to pretend. I don't feel like I have to hide. I don't feel like I have to become someone else just to be understood. I can just be. And somehow, that is enough. You are becoming important to me. More than I planned. More than I expected. More than I was ready for. But I am not afraid of that anymore. Because this doesn't feel like a mistake. It doesn't feel rushed. It doesn't feel temporary. It feels honest. And that is why I am telling you all this. Not to pressure you. Not to rush you. Not to expect anything in return. But because you deserve to know what is in my heart. Clearly. Honestly. Without confusion. And now, I want to ask you something. Not for an answer right now. Not today. Not even tomorrow. Just something for your heart to sit with. Quietly. Do you feel it too? This connection, this calm, this quiet understanding, do you feel it growing? The way I do? Because if you do, then maybe this is not something small. Maybe this is not something passing. Maybe this is something real. And if it is, then one day, when my son asks again, will she come home? Maybe I won't stay silent. Maybe I'll smile and finally have an answer. Maybe one day, when that same innocent voice asks me again, I won't feel lost in silence. Maybe I won't have to look away, or search for words that never come. Maybe that day, my heart will already know the answer. Because right now, I am standing in between two worlds. One where everything is still unspoken, and one where everything already feels real. And it's strange, how something so soft can feel so powerful. How something so quiet can change so much inside me. I never believed in slow feelings before. I thought love was loud, obvious, immediate. But you proved me wrong. Without even trying. With you, it didn't arrive like a storm. It came like a whisper, a gentle shift, a calm that stayed longer than I expected. And now, I find myself holding onto that calm. Like it's something precious. Because it is. My queen, there are moments in my day when everything pauses. Not around me, but inside me. And in those moments, it's always you. Not your face alone, not just your voice, but the feeling of you. The way you exist. In my thoughts. Without effort. The way your presence doesn't demand attention, yet quietly becomes the most important part of my day. Sometimes I wonder, how did this happen? How did someone who started as a simple conversation become someone my heart now listens to? How did your name turn into something that feels like home? And the truth is, I don't have an answer. Because not everything real needs an explanation. Some things are just felt. And you are one of those things. I remember how careful I used to be. How I used to guard my feelings, how I used to keep distance, how I told myself not to let anyone get too close again. But then you came, not with promises, not with pressure, not with expectations, just with your presence. And slowly, those walls I built so carefully, they didn't break, they softened. Because you didn't try to destroy them. You just stood there, patiently, until they no longer felt necessary. My queen, do you realize what that means? Do you understand how rare it is to feel safe without being asked to trust, to feel understood without having to explain everything, to feel connected without forcing anything? That's what you are to me. Not confusion, not chaos, but clarity, in the softest form. And sometimes, I catch myself smiling. For no reason. Not because something funny happened. Not because someone said something special. But because you crossed my mind. Just like that. And suddenly, everything feels lighter. Even my son notices it. He watches me sometimes, with that quiet curiosity. only children have. And I know he's trying to understand what changed in me. But how do I explain it to him? How do I tell him that someone he has never met has already touched my life in ways I cannot even describe? How do I tell him that sometimes love doesn't start with grand moments, it starts with peace? My queen, I won't lie to you. There are moments when I get scared, not of you, but of how real this feels. Because real things matter, and things that matter can be lost. And I think that's what makes my heart hold you more carefully. Not tightly, not selfishly, but gently. Because I don't want to rush this. I don't want to ruin this. I don't want to turn something beautiful into something fragile. I want to let it grow, the way it already is. Naturally. Honestly. Without fear. But at the same time, I cannot ignore what is happening inside me anymore. Because every day, you become a little more real to me. A little more important. A little more mine. Not in a way of possession, but in a way of connection. And that difference, it means everything. My queen, if one day you decide to walk away, I won't stop you. Because love should never be forced. But if one day you decide to stay, then I promise you something. I won't take it lightly. I won't treat it like something temporary. I won't let it fade without fighting for it. Because what I feel for you, it's not loud, but it's strong. It's not fast, but it's steady. It's not perfect, but it's real. And in a world full of noise, confusion, and temporary feelings, real is rare. And you are becoming that rarity in my life. So once again, I won't ask you for an answer today. I won't rush your heart or your thoughts. I just want you to feel this, the same way I do. Slowly. Quietly. Honestly. And maybe, one day soon, when silence no longer feels necessary, when words no longer feel heavy, when everything inside us finally aligns, we won't have to ask if this is real anymore. We'll just know. And that day, when my son looks at me again and asks, will she come home? Maybe, this time, I'll look at him, with a calm heart, a certain smile, and say, yes, she already feels like home. And if that day truly comes, it won't arrive with noise, it won't need an announcement, it won't be something the world has to confirm. It will just be felt, deeply, quietly, completely. Because some moments in life don't need witnesses. They don't need approval. They only need truth. And what I feel for you, it is slowly becoming that truth. Not something I question anymore, not something I try to understand too much, but something I accept, with a calm heart. My queen, there was a time when I used to fear attachment. When I believed that getting close to someone only meant giving them the power to hurt you. So I stayed distant, careful, guarded. I spoke, but never fully. I smiled, but never deeply. I cared, but never completely. And then you came, and without even asking, you changed the way I feel about all of it. Now, I don't feel afraid of getting close to you. I don't feel the need to hide behind distance. Because with you, closeness doesn't feel dangerous. It feels safe. And that is something I never thought I would say again. Do you know what it means to feel safe with someone? It means your heart doesn't stay on guard all the time. It means your thoughts don't overthink every word. It means your soul finally rests, even in someone else's presence. That's what you do to me. You don't create chaos in me. You don't make me question everything. You don't make me feel lost. You make me feel found. And that feeling, it's rare. It's beautiful. And it's something I don't want to lose. My queen, sometimes at night, when everything around me is quiet, when the world slows down, and there is nothing left but thoughts and silence, that's when you come to me the most. Not loudly. Not as a distraction. But as a presence. I think about your words. Your calmness. The way you understand things. Without making them complicated. And I realize, you're not just someone I talk to. You've become someone I feel. And there is a difference. Talking is easy. Feeling is something deeper. And what I feel for you is not surface level anymore. It's not temporary. It's not something that will disappear with time. It's something that is growing, quietly, but strongly. My queen, if I could show you what my heart looks like right now, you would see how much space you have taken without even trying. You would see how your name has settled into places I thought were already closed. You would see how every small memory of you has become something I hold carefully. Because you matter. More than I say. More than I show. More than I even fully understand. And maybe, that's what makes it real. Because real feelings don't always come with explanations. They come with certainty. And I am slowly becoming certain about you. Not in a rushed way. Not in a forced way. But in a natural way. That feels right. My queen, I don't know what the future holds. I don't know how this journey will unfold. But I do know one thing. I don't want to walk away from this. Not now, not when something so genuine is growing between us. Not when my heart finally feels something that isn't heavy. So I choose to stay. I choose to feel this. I choose to be honest about what is happening inside me. and I choose you. Not because I have to, not because I am forced to, but because my heart is quietly leaning toward you. Again and again, without hesitation. And maybe, that is what love really is. Not loud promises. Not perfect words. But a quiet decision, to stay, to feel, to believe, in someone. So my queen, if you ever find yourself sitting in silence one day, thinking about everything we've shared, everything we've felt, just ask your heart one thing. Does it feel the same peace? Does it feel the same calm? Does it feel that same quiet pull? That doesn't force you, but still doesn't let you go, because if it does, then maybe this is not just a moment. Maybe this is not just a phase. Maybe this is something written softly, but meant deeply. And if that is true, then no matter how long it takes, no matter how slow this goes, we will find our way to that answer together. And when that day comes, there will be no doubt left, no confusion left, no unanswered questions left. Only one feeling. Clear, calm, and certain. That this was real. From the very beginning.